Namaste. So, it always happens. After about 6 months in a place, somebody makes it their mission in life to mess up my environment, and then I have to leave. And of course, their life falls to ruin afterwards. But it happens again and again. This is like my karma. So what happened this time? You know, I've been setting up for music production, and I got a really nice setup going here. And the neighbors, who are also the caretakers of an absentee landlord for this place, they have some kids. And those kids hate my music. You can see there's a couple of recordings on this channel of devotional chants and stuff like that. Every time I start even practicing my music, they create a disturbance. These kids think that this compound, this empty compound, I'm the only tenant. They think it's their private clubhouse. And there's one particularly evil-minded little rascal, friend of the kids here, who every time I start playing something and he's around, which is a lot, he starts banging on his steel door like a drum and creating a disturbance. Well, obviously, it's impossible to record anything in that kind of environment. Not only that, you know, these bhajans, these mantras are incredibly powerful. And I haven't got to do my series on Nad Yoga yet, because actually I don't think anybody's interested. But in Nad Yoga, the tuning of the intervals, the swaras, has to be exact. Not just good, and not just great, exact. Okay? So every little vibration has to be exactly in the right place to make the special sacred geometry wave patterns, okay? So, of course, these kids are messing the whole thing up, okay? And their parents won't discipline them. Their parents won't stop them. I'm a sannyasi. According to Vedic standards, so social standards, I'm supposed to get respected. No. Why? We're in Tiruvannamalai. It's supposed to be a holy place. But nobody stands or gives pranam, you know, these kids. When I come into the place, they don't even get out of the way. They're sitting on my doorstep, chatting and playing their stupid radio. And nobody will stop them. Nobody will talk to them. Nobody will tell them it's wrong. Because their parents also are rascals. You see, Tiruvannamalai is a degenerate holy place. Now, Arunachala, the mountain, is fine, is perfect. But the cancer that has grown up around it is disgusting and degenerate. A bunch of low-minded, greedy people just cashing in on, guess what? Neo-advaita. See, the neo-advaita movement started by Papaji is what has brought a wave of tourism. So people are cashing in. And who's the biggest one cashing in? Ramanashramam. They have so much money. They practically own this place, They're like the mafia in New York. They own everything. And they have so much money that they're buying up properties, especially outside of Tiru in the smaller villages, and building beautiful houses for themselves. I was talking with my travel agent yesterday, booking my ticket out of town. And we got onto this subject, and he says, they have so much money They could be taking care of hundreds or thousands of sannyasis. Because I said, I'm leaving town. And he says, why? I said, there's no proper sannyas ashram. And he says, what about Ramanashrama? And I said, are you kidding? They're the source of the problem. And I brought up the whole Papaji thing and how Ramanashrama knows that it's wrong. In fact, they published an article on neo-advaita in their magazine, The Mountain Path, a few years back. You can find it on the internet, on neo-advaita. And it exactly described how it's wrong, how it's off. And I predict this neo-advaita is going to lead to the complete degeneration of Advaita culture. Because we can see the people have no respect. They had a holiday here just the other day. That's what started all this, or what led to the climax of it. It's called Saraswati Puja. Now, Saraswati is the goddess of learning. But what do the people do? They decorate their cars and trucks and motorcycles and bless them. Oh, Saraswati, keep me from having an accident. Now look, when I was in South India, like 7 or 8 years ago, we went to an actual Saraswati Puja in a Saraswati temple, one of the very few that exist in a small village. And we saw a real Saraswati Puja. And of course, what's happening here is nothing like that. People get drunk on their ass. They run around screaming and yelling and doing all kinds of nonsense, dangerous motorcycle stunts and stuff like this. And this is supposed to be a holy place? It's a joke. It's a farce. So I said to my travel agent, you know, the whole thing is this Papaji started this neo-advaita thing, and now they're making so much money off the tourism that they're not going to say anything, even though they know it's wrong. They're hypocrites. Complete, total hypocrites. And they have a program. Here's the really funny thing. They have a program for training actual Advaita Brahmanas. And Advaita Brahmana means a sannyasi, because Shankaracharya said that's the standard for Advaita. You have to be a sannyasi, you have to give up desire, you have to give up your material sense gratification. Okay. When I read that, the next week I took sannyas. Actually, I had wanted to for a long time, but I had been putting it off because I didn't feel qualified. I live in a nice house. I have my own income, you know. So I didn't feel qualified to take sannyas. But I've been doing Advaita sadhana now for 2.5 years. So, you know, I better take sannyas, right? But here, people take Advaita very cheaply. Like, oh yeah, I can go to the temple and, you know, it's all one, you know. And then I can go home and smoke my weed or take my coke, you know, have sex with my girlfriend. Yeah, it's all one. It's all great. Idiots. But Ramanashramam is encouraging this by not coming down heavily on the heresy. And they train their own kids to be proper Advaita Brahmanas. But they won't let any Westerners in the program. It's all caste-based, based on birth. Now, what does Krishna say about the Varnas, the castes? He says, Chatur Varnyam Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Vibhagasaha. I created the 4 Varnas, that's the proper name for castes, Varnas, Shudra, Vaishya, Kshatriya, and Brahmana. According to the quality of their work. Guna karma vibhagasaha. Vibhagasaha means divisions, making divisions. He doesn't say janma jati vibhagasaha, based on birth and family, castes. He doesn't say that. But that's what everybody does. So you see, the whole thing is corrupt, and it's been corrupt for a long, long time. And it's only getting worse over time. So what to do? I'm leaving. I'm going to a place where there are lots and lots of sannyasis. There's only a few of them in India, safe places for sannyasis, where sannyasis are actually taken care of properly. So I'm going there. I'm going to see what's up. And now here's the rub. I've mentioned here several times that when people offend me, it doesn't turn out too well for them, you know, even though I don't personally strike back. Somehow or other, their lives are ruined. The last time it happened was just about 6 months ago, that I was living in a place just down the road from here, and the guy stopped doing his duties. He stopped cleaning. I was the only tenant. All the tourists left. I was the only guy staying there, and he just let the place go to hell. Well, not his area, only my area. So I told him, look, you got to do your duty. You got to clean the place. It was dog shit all over the place. I said, you got to clean this up, you know, or I'm going to post pictures on Facebook showing what a dump this place is. So, he got all angry, right? And then he started a war. So I moved out. As a result, he was a manager for an absentee landlord. As a result, the landlord came in and fired him. He lost his business. He lost a huge investment that he had made in fixing up the place, on his side, of course, not on the tourist side. And he even lost his wife. He lost the respect of his brothers and family because he told so many lies and he tried to wiggle out of so many responsibilities. You know? Before I came here, and then the place before that, the first place that I stayed for almost a year here, and another place just on the other side of the same village. So I was there for almost a year with absolutely no problems, no issues whatsoever. It was very nice, and I got a lot of sadhana done. Then they rented out the bottom floor to some crazy lady from Finland or something. And she started making all kinds of trouble. There had been no trouble for like 10, 11 months. And suddenly there was all kinds of trouble. And so it was pretty obvious that she was the cause. Well, make a long story short, she lost her boyfriend. She lost her place. She was staying at her friend's place. Her friends kicked her out. She had to go back to Finland, where there's a big lawsuit against her, and she lost her children. She lost everything. The place before that, Mahabalipuram, there was all kinds of rumors about me. Some people didn't like me, so they started all kinds of trouble. So what happened? Like 2 days after I moved to Tiru, there was a huge cyclone. The whole place was devastated. Mahabalipuram is like a sandbar. It's like Miami Beach. So the whole place was cut off. There was no power. You couldn't even, go in or out of the place for weeks until they fixed it. these are just coincidences, right? Yeah, right. No, I've seen it my whole life that anybody who offends me winds up in a lot of trouble. I'm sorry. It's not that I wish it for them. I don't. In fact, as soon as somebody starts a war with me, that's the time for me to leave. Because I know what's going to happen. And I don't want to make it worse. I don't want to be a target for their continued offenses. So I leave. I've shut this channel down several times in the past. Why? Because of trolls and griefers who start making nasty comments and inappropriate comments and spreading lies and rumors about me to the other viewers and stuff like this. Why? To protect them from their own offensive actions and their inevitable karmic results. It's like all these so-called spiritual people, they don't understand how if you hate someone who is blameless, you have to take their sinful reactions. So I haven't done anything wrong. I don't even hate these people. I think they're stupid, and self-destructive. But how can I hate them? They're like idiots. They're like children. In the present case, they are children. Yet, they're hateful and evil-minded and disrespectful and nasty. And they're supposedly living in a holy place, and they're supposedly members of a religious family and like that. So what am I supposed to think? There's something rotten here. Something really stinks. And I know what it is. It's this neo-advaita philosophy. Because of this, people are giving up their culture. And it's not only here, it's all over India. It's just that here is a particularly pure and virulent strain of neo-advaita. You see, look at my previous video about nirvikalpa and savikalpa samadhi. That the neo-advaita, even if we allow it some validity, even if we say, okay, even if we admit that it's the truth, which it isn't, but even if we were to admit that for the sake of discussion, they're only teaching half. They're only teaching the nirvikalpa samadhi, not the savikalpa samadhi. Read Tripura Rahasya. Tripura Rahasya is literally the secret of the goddess, the feminine side of God. It's very esoteric. It's very high. It was one of Ramana Maharshi's favorite books of all time. So, and I know the secret of his full self-realization, which I'm not going to share here, but it's been revealed to me. He also knew both sides of the story, and so do I. Om Tat Sat. Om Harihi Om.